The time is just gone 14 minutes past 9. We continue with the broadcast this morning and a number of issues that we will be taking a look in the second hour. We've learned of the General Industries Workers Union of South Africa. They issued a media statement calling on players, supporters, and activists to protest against Orlando Pirates, the PSL, and also SAFA. We will find out shortly what this is all about. We will be joined by Abeedah Adams. We're also talking this morning with Islamic Relief South Africa, with the HOD of Fund Development, Abdul Alim Hamza, highlighting Islamic Relief's the Kurbani distribution and Yemen emergency appeal, and also towards the end of the show, an issue that is of concern in South Africa: literacy reading, which is a problem. And the question we are asking is, if learning to read is not a problem, what is? We will be talking with the owner and principal of the Emergence Group, Jenny Dupriya. But right now, we're going across to be joined by Giwusa's Abeedah Adams. Abeedah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome.
Walaikum salam, and thanks for having me.
Yes, wonderful you're able to join us. Now, I must say I am wearing black and white, but I'm not a Buccaneers fan. I'm not an Orlando Pirates fan. But it is clear that this statement that has been issued by Giwusa, talking about a number of issues, talking about Orlando Pirates betraying its working class, the history, the values, the supporters, and also the whole issue surrounding the working class history, the principles of solidarity, the whole question surrounding profiteering. So there's just so much that has actually come out merely by this tour and by Orlando Pirates agreeing to play in Spain with the Israeli club Maccabi Haifa.
Yeah, I think I must just say I'm wearing black and white. Orlando Pirates used to be my team. I must say now I am desperately looking for the other team. And I think probably a number of conscious supporters are feeling the same. I've seen over the media, people condemning this action from Orlando Pirates to continue despite our attempts to, not just from Giwusa, but I think from a number of entities and the federation, to say to them, do not play against Maccabi Tel Aviv, because this is really, an insult to the Palestinian people. And the statement from Orlando Pirates we find very disappointing, and also not being honest. And we see this just simply as them. And of course, the owner, we're not talking about the players because they are just workers. We mustn't forget that. But the owners and the management of Orlando Pirates just looking after the interests of the profits and not considering the very proud history of Orlando Pirates. This was one of the soccer clubs that was formed in the late 30s that gave a lot of hope to the South African people, especially from the oppressed and exploited black majority of the working class in Soweto and in Orlando specifically. So, it's very difficult for us to accept that, and we cannot accept that.
Well, definitely, and I think your statement actually reminds Orlando Pirates of this history, and talking about the working class and how Orlando Pirates had actually come about in an era where people were exploited, people were dehumanized, people were degraded, and this is exactly a Maccabi Tel Aviv. When one looks at what is taking place and what Israel or the Zionist entity is actually doing to the Palestinian people. So, again, it doesn't make sense where you have a club that has got such a history in an apartheid era that was brutal, and now this complete about turn, and also being adamant of the fact that we will play no matter what happens.
Absolutely. And I think we must also take Orlando Pirates back in terms of our own history in South Africa. During apartheid years, they were not allowed or afforded this kind of opportunities, but they must ask themselves also. They are now allowed this opportunity to go play their friendlies in Spain and wherever in the world, etc., etc. And of course, the owners are even making more money. But this only became possible after we fought and won against the apartheid regime. And this victory is also because of international solidarity. South Africa was ostracized by the academic community, the cultural community, the sporting community, and we had different forms of sanctions. And this is why we are saying that as South Africa and as also as Orlando Pirates, we should actually be leading this fight. I mean, the fact that Orlando Pirates remind us about their history and how the club was formed, and now what they are doing is totally in opposition and contradiction to the history. It is not, it is because of the sacrifices that we made and the international solidarity that we got from different communities in different forms by isolating apartheid Israel that we are now able, and that Orlando Pirates are now able to play in Spain. So it's really disappointing that they are now conveniently hiding behind rules. And we also know that apartheid was also a lot of rules. So for us now to say, for Orlando Pirates to say that, I mean, they're talking now about constructive engagement, etc., etc. That never helped us in South Africa. What helped us to overthrow apartheid was the boycotts and divestments and the sanctions. But I think what is equally worrying is the ANC government and their sort of double speak. I mean, like on the one hand, the ANC always says that we support the Palestinian cause, but the government is doing very little. I mean, because one of Orlando Pirates' arguments in their statement is that there is no boycott. So the South African government is not calling for a boycott, but we have been pressurizing our South African government to lead on the boycotts, divestments, and sanctions. And perhaps if our government, if the ANC government comes out very strongly and say that, you know what, as South Africa, we are going to support the BDS fully, all in all its different forms, then perhaps Orlando Pirates would not have been able to make this excuse, for example. And we
Yes.
must also, I mean, also the contradiction, for example, if you look in the international community, very quickly, was Russia is not allowed to play. FIFA has banned Russia, but FIFA is allowing apartheid Israel to play at the expense of the Palestinians and the genocide that is being perpetrated on a daily basis and the oppression and the murder that Palestinians are subjected to on a daily basis.
Yes, and also I see you've utilized this press statement or this media statement to highlight the problems that are faced in sport at this point in time. And we know sports is big money. You speak of the corporate interests as far as sports is concerned. You speak about profiteering. You speak about the bosses that actually own this club. So at the end of the day, this has become a big money spinner. It's become a massive money game opposed to when one looks at the humble beginnings of a club like Orlando Pirates, looking at why they were formed in the first place. So, the bosses, the corporate interests in sports in general is problematic.
Absolutely. I mean, we know that the reason why the management, because we know this is not the players who said we are going to go ahead. We know the reason why management is insisting that they are going ahead and they can't because of rules is because of money. That is why also we have appealed to our sister union and stuff to engage the players to say perhaps can they convince the players of Orlando Pirates to refuse to play against Maccabi Tel Aviv? That is what we are saying. But we also know that the soccer players and the administrators and all the other people of SAFA and Orlando Pirates and the PSL, they are also just workers like any other worker. So our call has been not just to them, but also in support of SAFTA. SAFTA is also, our federation has also issued a statement, and a lot of individuals and other organizations. We are saying that we should probably start, we must see how, as society and as the working class community of South Africa and all the peace and freedom loving people in South Africa, we must put pressure and boycott Orlando Pirates, boycott SAFA and the PSL, because we cannot allow this continue. Because I think the biggest concern is that now that it seems that it's almost like it's acceptable, we know it's not going to step there. What is going to be next? That we're going to have Israeli teams coming to South Africa and playing against our teams because of rules. And we know this is only just a money making business, but ultimately the beautiful game is a game of the working class. And we also need to try to reclaim that, because the profiteering of football and most of the sport codes, it's unfortunate because again, it's the working class. And for us, this is one of the few games that we really can enjoy and then it is still affordable for the working class.
Well, certainly. And also, I think, when one looks at some of the examples right across the entire world, and the one that comes to mind is in Scotland, and we've seen this huge pro Palestinian
Yeah,
support.
absolutely.
And we've seen it in their at their football matches. You speak of the beautiful game, but they've actually utilized the opportunity to make a standpoint, to make it very, very clear that we stand with the people of Palestine. We stand against Zionist aggression, against
Mm.
Zionist occupation. And I'm sure that with your call to the supporters of Orlando Pirates, that they need to take a standpoint. They need to make their voices heard loud and clear.
Absolutely. But I think for us, you see, what part of the problem I think is that every time something happens in Palestine, we have a protest, we have a boycott on that. But I think what we as a peace and freedom loving South Africans need to do, whether it is Giwusa or SAFTU at the working class at large, all the different solidarity movements for the Palestinians in South Africa, that we need to be consistent and we need to have a mass united front so that we can be consistent. And I think then to put more pressure on our government because they are the ones that can really effect change so that our solidarity can be tangible with the Palestinians and cannot it's not just empty press statements and where we condemn the actions of the Israeli genocidal apartheid regime. I think that we need to be consistent and not just when there are flare ups because even if there is not a massacre in Jenin tomorrow, Palestinians are exploited every day. I mean, we know about the open air prison camps of Gaza and the West Bank. So we need to step up our game. We cannot just wait every time when we are confronted with an issue like this and then we issue statements and that. We need to be consistent and we need to be more pragmatic and more tangible with regards to our solidarity with the people of Palestine.
Well, Abida, for now, I must say Jazakallah khair, and we could have engaged a lot more, and I'm sure a lot more that you are able to unpack this morning. But sadly, time is of the essence. But for now, we thank you. We say Jazakallah to you for your time with us this morning, right here on Salam Media.
Salam. Shukran for having us.
Afwan, walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Abeedah Adams joining us this morning from Giwusa, the General Industries Workers Union of South Africa, calling for players, supporters, and activists to protest against Orlando Pirates, the PSL, and SAFA. And this is a result of agreeing to play in Spain with the Israeli club Maccabi Tel Aviv. The time is just gone, 9:27. We've got Imtiaz Sayed, Itiquini Secure standing by.